It's time for another 172-second review. This time, Fantasy Stables by Fantasy Board Games, LLC. Fantasy Stables is a roll-and-move economic game for 2 to 4 players that, despite its name, is not about raising centaurs and pegasi in a fantasy universe. It is instead about living the fantasy of owning a stable of horses, taking them to competitions, and paying for their food. Players begin with $100,000 for starter horses and a randomly chosen roll. Some of these rolls will earn income from other players each year, while others will get bonuses when competing with their horses. Horses come in 3 levels: yellow, red, and blue. The front of the card shows that horse's picture and specialty, while the back contains a bunch of flavor text and fun facts, as well as possible rival information that could earn you bonuses when competing against your rival. When you acquire a horse, you also get a card from that color's value deck. This is kept secret and could make a horse worth more or less than what you paid for it. Believe it or not, nowhere in the rules does it say roll the die and move that many spaces, but that's what you do on your turn. You then execute the action printed on that space. You may have to pay an expense from the deck, be given the opportunity to buy horses, either privately or at auction, or be given the chance to compete in a show. Shows are listed as either orange, in which both yellow and red horses can compete, or blue, in which only blue can compete, as well as favoring a particular specialty. There may also be special rules for winning, such as getting a bonus horse or choosing one of the competing horses to be auctioned off to the highest bidder. Players wishing to compete pay an entry fee, add up any bonuses for that horse, and roll 1 die. Matching the show's discipline gets you +2. Red horses get an automatic +1, as do the Cindy and Krista characters. Expense cards may also add or subtract from your roll. High roll wins, and tied players simply re-roll until a winner is determined. Win or lose, yellow and blue horses get a corresponding show card. Yellow cards always add to the value of the horse. Blue cards may contain crippling injuries, forcing you to eventually send the horse out to pasture. Each trip around the board represents a year, at the end of which you must pay expenses to the other players for each horse in your stable. 4 of the rolls get this payout. Note that Jim in the feed store gets double what the other players do, but Jim gets no payouts from the random expenses cards. Play continues for a predetermined number of years, a certain horse or money total, or a set time limit. Your score is your money on hand plus your horse's show cards and value cards. You can also optionally earn bonuses for collecting certain sets of horses. Get ready for some math. Fantasy Stables is either admirable or terrible depending on your perspective. On one hand, I have to give props to the creators for attempting to make a game intended for a mass market audience that's more complex than your average roll and move game. Their love for the subject is evident. Unfortunately, from a hobby game's perspective, it fails in nearly every category. The cards are small and thin, that payout chart has math errors, and the game is too random, lacks agency, and frankly isn't a whole lot of fun. If you've always dreamed of owning a stable, this is a great way to find out how much that will cost you. For everyone else, hard pass. 4 out of 10. I'm Eric Summerer, and that's another 172-second review. For more video reviews and my favorite audio podcast, please visit Dicetower.com. Thanks for listening. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. Cool stuff in stock at CoolStuffInc.com.